Hi there, it's me, Crazy Ella, and I'm back to tell you a little bit more about my crazy life. So today I want to talk to you about my education journey, part 2. My education journey was kinda crazy, like lots of things happened and it felt like roller coaster. I couldn't understand why all those things happened to me. I felt like life is punishing me for some reason, I don't know why. And while some people living their easy life, I was jumping between two countries and crazy things happened, honestly. And looking back now, I realized that everything happened for a reason. Yes, we don't understand it right away. Maybe it takes us weeks, months, years to understand why some things happen in our life, but everything happens for a reason. Let me explain you what I mean. Well, if you watch my first video, you know where I'm from and where I moved to. So, I moved to Russia when I was almost 9, and I just finished 3rd grade, and I supposed to go to 4th grade, which makes sense. But it didn't happen because I didn't speak any Russian. And my future teachers told my dad that in that situation, the only way is to go back to the 1st grade to pick up the language and then continue from where I stopped. Well, I knew that I'm gonna lose 3 years, which I already finished in my hometown, but I wanted to study. And I said yes. My younger sister didn't lose much actually. She just finished 1st grade and basically she repeated one more year again. But my elder sister wasn't as lucky as we were because she already was 12 by that time and she finished 5th grade and she's supposed to go to 6th grade. And she didn't want to study with kids who were twice younger than she was that time. So she had to stop her education right there. Well, in a year I picked up the language and my teachers told my dad that I can continue studying, going to the grade where I supposed to be. But my dad said no. He didn't want to separate me from my sister, and if you watch my last video, you know that time was really difficult for us as people with dark skin. And that time I didn't understand why my dad didn't want me to catch up with my level, but now I do. Well, when I and my sister finished the 3rd grade, we didn't go to 4th, we jumped to the 5th grade, which is a good news. And when we finished 5th grade and just started 6th grade, another crazy thing happened. My family decided to move back to Azerbaijan. Yeah, my mom felt homesick, and that time we didn't have the video call, and even for phone calls you needed to buy a card with minutes, so your conversation was limited. I feel ancient. Well, the decision was made, things packed, and tickets were bought, but not for everybody. That time was really difficult and my family couldn't afford to buy tickets for all of us. By the way, there are 7 of us in the family and that was really expensive. That's why my dad decided that I and my sister will stay with my uncle and continue going to school. But my uncle didn't want to take responsibility. He said if something happens to me or my sister on our way to school or home, he doesn't want to take responsibility. And my dad had to stop our education and we were home the entire year. Honestly, it felt like isolation now. A year later, my dad sent some money to my uncle, he got tickets for us, and we had 3 days bus journey to Azerbaijan. By the way, during 6 years in Russia, I kind of forgot my mother tongue, but this is another story to tell, and it's very interesting, by the way. Well, we had to start the 6th grade again because we didn't even complete it in Russia, and it was a year back again. Can you imagine my frustration? I wasn't happy about all those things happening to me. I wasn't happy about moving from place to place, changing my school, changing my classmates, changing my friends. I was tired of that, and I think life decided to give me a little break. Well, that break lasted 6, 7, 8, 9, 4 years. And when I finished grade 9, I realized that all my relatives around me were getting married. I didn't want to be the next one. And I was into education, so I called my dad and I said, Dad, I want to have a higher education. And he said yes, which was a really big thing. In my first video I explained why it was such a big thing, so you can watch it. And yeah, so I started preparing for my exams, having private lessons, and yeah, I was really into that. I just finished 10th grade, and I remember my mom and my dad calling me and saying, Ila, we need to talk to you. And they told me that we are going back to Russia. Well, my first question was, what? Why? What about my school? I still have 1 more year to go. What about my uni? I planned everything and now you're just telling me pack your things and we're moving back to Russia? Well, I couldn't do anything about that. Well, we still had a problem because I still had a year to go at school, and that problem was also solved. My dad talked to principal and he gave him some money, and the principal agreed to fake my attendance and my marks like I'm still going to the same school in my hometown while I was in Russia, having private lessons to remember Russian since I didn't speak it for years, and also to pick up some English because my English was at level -100. Honestly, I'm not joking. I'm gonna have a video about my language journey. A year later, when I finished my school, I really needed to go back to my hometown to have my final exams. Well, I passed all of them. I came back to Russia. I passed my uni exams. And when I started my uni, I realized why all those things happened to me. I realized why I was jumping between 2 countries, 2 schools, languages, changing friends, learning things, trying to not forget or to remember. All of them happened because I needed to meet right people at the right place and right time. Well, those right people were my university friends. Most of them helped me a lot, some of them more than others, but there was a person who supported me during my 4 years escape plan. And believe me, it wasn't an easy decision to leave home, to leave my family, because I knew that when I do that, there is no way back, and I will probably never ever see my family again. And I was changing my mind every single day. I felt really guilty. I couldn't do that to my family. You know, they raised me and I'm going to disappoint them, I'm going to betray them. I couldn't do that. But I had him, my best friend, and I still have him, thank God. I still ask his opinion when I need it, and he's like my elder brother or even like father to me. Yeah, and all those things happened because I meant to meet that person who has been supporting and encouraging me for years. And if life challenges you, if you're having a difficult time right now, and if you're asking yourself why it's happening to you and that's not fair to you, well, there are 2 things. First of all, everything happens for a reason. Maybe we can't see it right away because we are hurt, and sometimes life decides to teach us in a harsh way, but believe me, everything happens for a reason. And the second thing we should know is life always gives us challenges we can overcome. Let me explain. I want you to imagine life as a game. Well, you know, all games have levels. and each level has its own difficulties and challenges. And the most important thing we should know is that you can't go to level 5 if you haven't passed level 1, 2, 3, 4, and etc. So games increase their difficulties from level to level, and at each level you learn a new trick which helps you to pass the next level. Well, you should know that life has similar algorithm. It never gives you any challenge you can't handle at the level where you are right now. And you learn a lesson after each challenge. And the tricky part is that if you don't learn your lesson, you will have to play the same level again and again. Life will bring the same challenge to you in different ways until you learn your lesson and move on to the next level. And as in any game, in real life we also need some help button. And sometimes that help may be simple support or encouragement. Well, I want you to know that I am here to help, to support, to encourage you, and to tell you my story and show you that anything is possible. And don't forget that you're strong enough to overcome those challenges you're having right now and move to the next level. You can do it. Never give up. That's very important. If you need my support or you simply want to talk and share your story and feel better, you can always find me on Instagram or Facebook with the same name. Well, if you watch till this moment, you should know that everything will be alright. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next week. Bye!